GameDay Garage presents The Show and the You with Jake Hassan.
Cowards.
From live bets.
We're betting UCSB, full game money line.
To random calls from strangers.
Who the hell is calling you right now?
Nothing is off limits. Even a little self-discovery.
This is what happens when you live alone. You kind of just talk to yourself sometimes. And maybe is it a sign of developing schizophrenia? Maybe.
It's The Show and the You.
College sports. Gotta love it.
Here's Jake Hassan.
Hello, it's me. No, this is not my apartment. I'm in a home. But what's actually nice about this is that I can talk as loud as I want. And generally, listen, if you've been listening to the show, this is GameDay Garage, The Show and the You, by the way. If you've been listening to this show before, I scream and I yell anyway. But now it's really nice, even though it's very echoey in here and I'm just now realizing that. Is this better? Hello? No, it's echoey everywhere. So we're just going to have to deal with that. But the hell is what? Colby Marshall. Whatever, dude. This guy, all this guy wants to do is chirp, 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 chirp. All he wants to do is say that, oh, I'm performative, reading books at the bar. Oh, I'm the one that is whatever, just doing things performatively. This guy owns Milk and Honey, but he wants to make fun of me for reading at the bar. I don't want to hear it. Enough from this guy. So we're going to take his comment off the screen. Enough from Colby Marshall. Yeah, it's a little echoey. It's a house. I'm not at my apartment because I'm dog sitting. Shocker. I'm going to close that blind though because that's really annoying. That's better. Anyway. What? I know. I closed your blind. That's Sophie. Anyway, everyone be nice to Sophie. But, listen. This is not Pinky in the Brain. This is GameDay Garage, The Show, and the You. The dog looks out the window. What? What's out there? Anybody? Anything good? No? All right, cool. Good talk. Anyway, we're here. We did it. We have a mobile setup, and we're going to get it rocking. I have 1, 2, 3. Why did I say we're going to get it rocking? Ugh. Terrible. Immediately. 3 college bets and 4 baseball MLB bets. They're all baseball. 4 MLB bets and a 5th on the lean there. Also have a lot to talk about. We have Zack Wheeler coming back for the Phillies today. Let's just get this out of the way now. Zack Wheeler comes back. Awesome. Great. We love Zack Wheeler. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball for 10 years now. Just about, at least in his Phillies tenure. And he's great. But last year ends with thoracic outlet syndrome surgery on his shoulder. Not a lot of guys come back from that. Steven Strasburg kind of came back from it, won in a World Series MVP, and then rode off into the distance. Like, Jamie Garcia, remember him? Former Cardinals great? What? Are we serious? What? Anyway, Jamie Garcia comes up. Apparently, somebody is not a fan. But Jamie Garcia, he was out of baseball after that. So I just don't know what this is going to be for Zack Wheeler. And there are going to be people on gambling Twitter, on baseball Twitter, who are going to say, whoa, Cy Young's what? I'm going to use the Colby Marshall announcer voice. Well, Cy Young's wide open. Anybody can still win this. It's April 25th. Zack Wheeler can't win this award. He can't. There's too much space between him, who has made 0 starts, and Paul Skeens, Shohei Ohtani, Christopher Sanchez, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Sorry. Those guys are far and away ahead. Mind you, Shohei Ohtani once again goes out there, throws yet another gem, and we're still not talking about him for Cy Young. It's me and Femi Abebefe just texting each other about Shohei Ohtani Cy Young every day after he just continues to put up zeros every single start for 6 innings and punch guys out. So I just don't want to bet Zack Wheeler in this spot when so many of these guys are having fantastic seasons and are so far ahead of him. Hell, you all know how I feel about Mason Miller Cy Young. I'd rather bet Mason Miller Cy Young than Zack Wheeler right now. Because right now, You try to go bet this. Oh, and it's ripped down, actually. Huh. Unusual. Usually the awards aren't all ripped down everywhere, but I don't see them anywhere. But, I mean, Wheeler's floating around at big numbers. And I know that's going to be really enticing for a lot of people. And I know we're all going to do the think pieces of, well, Zack Wheeler, what a story it would be if he finally came back from shoulder surgery and he finally won it after finishing second and third so many times. Hasn't thrown a pitch and has to go against some of the best stars in the league. I want nothing to do with Wheeler Cy Young. I'm a little tempted by the Phillies on the money line tonight as dogs, but we just don't know what this is going to be with Wheeler. We just don't know what's going to happen, how many pitches he's going to throw. The Braves are playing great. The Phillies are playing awful. So because of all of those factors, I'm good on Wheeler. I'm good on the Phillies tonight. So that's the Zack Wheeler thing put to bed. What we should talk about, and I'm really upset, this is my fault, bad job by me, because it's Saturday. Obviously, there were early games. So with the Orioles and Red Sox starting early, most of the numbers are ripped down. But it might be time to start talking about Konnor Griffin. Might be time to start, like yesterday on his 20th birthday, goes 3 for 4, hits a home run. Might be time to start talking about the buy point on Konnor Griffin for NL Rookie of the Year. I'm going to see if one of these other books has it up. But even if they don't, he was flown out there at 10-1. And this is the guy that at one point was your favorite at 3-1 or a sub 3-1 number. And had a pretty bad start to the year, now comes out and is maybe going to start turning it around. He's 20. There's going to be ebbs and flows. Sal Stewart's your favorite, as he should be. He's unbelievable for Cincinnati. But Konnor Griffin's a phenom. Konnor Griffin's a guy who got called up at 19 years old and was already expected to be a star. And what? Come here. You good? Okay, just staring at the floor for no reason. Sure. Floor time is very important for everybody. I very much say that everybody needs floor time. Anyway, sinus infection is still happening, for those of you wondering, which is why I still sound like shit. The great draining is what I'm calling it right now, because there's just shit coming out of my nose and my throat, pause, all times. And it's really fun for me, obviously, as you can imagine. So that's still been going on. God, the Gold Book, the Lions book, is truly a user interface that hates you for using their app. Like, whoever built this app hates you for using it. And, like, it wishes only bad things upon you for using their app. It should not be this hard. And yet. Anyway, I digress. Back to Konnor Griffin. I still think this is going to be a tightly packed race. I think all year long we are going to have Sal Stewart, we're going to have Konnor Griffin, we're going to have J.J. Weatherholt. Nolan McLean's going to be in the mix. Do I think he can win because he's a pitcher? No, I still am going to be against him. But because of that, he sucks up a lot of win probability and gives us longer numbers on guys like Owen Cassie, who's now starting to drift because, wow, he cannot hit the ball even in the strike zone suddenly. But you have all of these guys who are going to be all tightly bunched together. Let's see. Do they have it? Oh, futures, maybe. Oh, big. Okay, here we go. So shout out to the Lions book, apparently, for being the only book that has awards open. So right now you have Sal Stewart plus 140, not disputing that at all. But Sal Stewart, for as good as he's been, he's still started to slide a little bit. Sal Stewart's batting average has come down about 40 points. Now, of course, batting average isn't end-all, be-all, and 285 is still a really good batting average. But he's still launching home runs. He's still playing good defense all around the infield. So Stewart should be your favorite. And then it's Nolan McLean at plus 250 as your second favorite. Then it's Konnor Griffin at 10-1. Like, I think this could be a buy point for Griffin. If we're talking price discrepancy and we're talking about how close all of these guys are, Griffin really isn't that far behind. And at 10-1 for a guy that was the favorite a month ago, I think that this is a good number for him. We could be looking back weeks from now saying that, oh, remember that game on his 20th birthday when Konnor Griffin hit a home run, hit his first career home run, and he went 3 for 4 in the day against the Brewers, against Brandon Woodruff? I think we could all be looking back at that game a couple weeks from now and saying, yeah, that's where things turned around for Konnor Griffin. Like, the thing is with Rookie of the Year, they're so fluid. The ebbs and flows happen. I said this in the Substack, Hassan'sHacks.substack.com, by the way. Said this a couple weeks ago. Anyone remember Gunnar Henderson? I do, because we bet it on a now defunct network, and they fired me anyway. But it was still pretty awesome that we got that bet in at 35-1 after Gunnar Henderson had entered the year that year as the far and away favorite. Then he sucked for 2 months, and then he just turned it around, and he ran away with the award. It wasn't even close. So I think we can be talking about the same thing with Konnor Griffin here. And just for reference, I'm going to pull up, I'm on Fangraphs right now, and using Fangraphs on mobile is honestly, like, speaking of user interface, that is horrifying. National League, rookies, Kablamo, go to WAR. Oh, but he's probably not qualified yet, is he? Oh, no, he's right there. So, Sale Stewart, by Fangraphs WAR standards. Sale Stewart's your favorite, 1 win above replacement. And for the uninitiated, when you're talking about Rookie of the Year, generally the guy who has the most WAR at the end of the year, most wins above replacement, just wins Rookie of the Year. We've seen this with Michael Harris versus Spencer Strider. We have seen this with who was the other one recently? But like you go through, and generally guys who have the most wins above replacement, they just win the award. So that's generally what we're looking at. Fangraphs, Baseball Reference. Obviously, if you're leading in both, that's super helpful. But Sale Stewart's at a 1 win above replacement. And he's played in 26 games. He's got a 6 or 7 game lead on Konnor Griffin, who's at a 0 Fangraphs WAR, which is fine. We can live with that. Like, that is not Mount Everest. Like, you can overcome that, not easily, but it's April 25th. There's a lot of leeway here for Konnor Griffin. And if Konnor Griffin is going to go nuclear, then we can make this work pretty easily. Oh, I bet that cuticle way too far. I'm bleeding everywhere. If you want to look at Baseball Reference, Sale Stewart, 1.2 wins above replacement. Konnor Griffin sitting at 0.1. So about the same, about a 1-win discrepancy between those two. That's nothing. That's easily overcome, especially in the scope of having a lot of time here. So I think you have another day probably to bet these Konnor Griffin numbers at 10-1 for Rookie of the Year, because Jacob Mizorowski is on the hill for the Brewers today. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not going to go out there and say, yeah, Griffin's going to just annihilate one of the best pitchers in the league. No, I'm not saying that. But I think we are getting to the point with Konnor Griffin where we do have to start saying, all right, this might be the buy point for this guy. Since Cy Young, just to circle back to Cy Young, Skeens plus 150, Yamamoto 4-1, Ohtani 6-1. Remember when we told you to bet him 30-1? That's crazy. You don't win awards in April, but just saying. Mason Miller 9-1. I mean, just what are we doing here? And then all the way down, you have Zack Wheeler at 150-1. There's going to be people who are going to bet that. There's going to be people who are tweeting Zack Wheeler 150-1, Cy Young caliber pitcher. What a story! No, be so for real. Be so for real. All right, that's awards for the day. Unless anyone has any burning MVP. You know what? One more thing. MVP. Because I wrote this in the Substack, Hassan'sHacks.substack.com. I think Jose Ramirez is way live. I think Jose Ramirez is starting to play really good baseball. He's starting to swing the bat way better. And so I love Jose Ramirez. He is what Zack Wheeler has been for the last couple of years to Cy Young race. Jose Ramirez is that for AL MVP. Still sitting at 22-1. If Aaron Judge is just going to go out there and if he's going to hit 50 home runs, great. But he's not going to hit 300 like he has the last couple of years. I don't think the voters are going to be dying to give him a third straight MVP unless he breaks his own record, unless he does something crazy again. If he just has a slightly worse year than last year, I don't think they're going to give it to him. And if that's going to be the case, I think this is really tightly bunched. Yordan Alvarez, yes, is unbelievable, but he's a DH only. Probably going to get yes, I know he plays left field sometimes, but let's all be so honest with ourselves. I think he maybe gets knocked a little bit for that. And also, let's call a spade a spade. It's Yordan Alvarez, Colby Marcio, cover your ears. He's going to get hurt. At some point, Yordan Alvarez is going to have some kind of knee issue, some kind of foul ball off the hand or something, and he's going to get hurt, and he's going to miss a couple weeks. And then the door on this thing is blown wide open. Bobby Wood Jr. is hitting for no extra base hits. Gunnar Henderson's really good, but if we're all the way down to Henderson and Kurtz, then Ramirez is way live. And at 22-1, for a guy who has finished top 5 in this award 8 times in the last 10 years, has finished top 3 in 4 of those years, and is generally beloved in baseball for an award that is voted on by human voters who are going to want to give him the award. I think 22-1 Jose Ramirez AL MVP is way live. All right, now we're done with the awards. If you're watching live on YouTube or on Twitter, then you see on our little bar, we have the Cubs and the Mets mentioned in our little title thing here. And if you're listening in podcast form and you weren't here live, hello, still love you just as much. Thank you for supporting me and us. What do we want to start with? Should we start with the Mets or should we start with the Cubs? Let's start with the Mets. Wow. 12 straight losses, then Soto comes back, you win a couple games in a row, and then you lose Lindor. And then you lose to the Rockies last night, which we had, by the way, which is why you should be listening to all of the content that yours truly, does, at the Jake Hassan on Twitter, at Hassan_Jake on Instagram, because on yesterday's show of Better Day, of Off the Board, presented by Better Day, with Colby Marcio, I gave out the Rockies at almost 2-1 on the money line, because I simply don't trust the Mets. Everybody was so quick to crown the Mets for the NL pennant at the beginning of the year. Everyone was saying, oh, yeah, like the Mets, they got it. They trade for Freddie Peralta. Nolan McLean's great. This lineup, even without Pete Alonso, they still signed 17 second basemen with Marcus Semien and Bo Bichette and Jorge Polanco. How's that going? And they just lose. This Mets team, even though they had a couple back-to-back wins and they lost to the Rockies yesterday, I kind of like the Rockies again today. Kodai Senga is a ghost of the guy we thought he was going to be. He's never been able to live up to expectations. I know Jose Quintana is smoked meat at this point, but is he really that much worse than Senga? This Rockies team is plucky, man. Their lineup can put up some runs. Antonio Senzatella as the closer has been awesome for the Rockies. Actually, how have I not picked him up in fantasy yet? Somebody probably already definitely grabbed him, but it's worth a little look-see here. ADHD brain, sorry. Okay, bye. No, it's a Z. Wait, what? Oh, that game? Oh, never mind. Rockies Mets got postponed. That sucks. I'm just reading stuff, Huh. Yeah, I mean, this might be worth a little something here because Antonio Senzatella has been awesome for the Rockies. But Rockies game postponed, which sucks because I wanted to bet the Rockies against the Mets again today, and that stinks. This Mets team is a 0 to me. I think that this division in the NL East is going to come down to the Braves and the Marlins. And I'll say it, hand up, I was really low on the Braves. I didn't think that they had the pitching to get it done. Do you need to go out? Is that what's happening right now? Everybody please hold. You want to go outside? Come on. You go outside? No, you're just looking? Okay. Never mind. You want to go outside? Just looking. All right. Well, that was an edition of I thought the dog wanted to go out because she was standing at the door just looking outside, and apparently she just wanted to look outside. Who amongst us hasn't been there? But I think the NL East is going to just be the Braves and just be the Marlins. The Phillies are a 0. They can't hit, and now they're hoping Zack Wheeler, the guy with a new circuit board in his shoulder is going to be the one to save them. Okay, we'll see how that goes. I had to pop my ears. Sure, cool, whatever. Good luck. And the Nationals are the Nationals. And so it's just then the Mets. And I think that the Mets, this is what they are. They're just going to be a very underwhelming team. So I think that leaves you with the Braves, and I'll continue my apology to them. I think that the Braves are a really good team. I underestimated them. I underestimated their pitching staff. I mean, if you were going to tell me that Bryce Elder was going to be this, if you were somebody pounded the table for Bryce Elder earlier this year, credit to you. Apparently you just know ball, and Chris Sale is still Chris Sale, but give the Braves credit. They're better than I thought. And shout out our guy, Reed Phillips Rad. Still get Ohtani 11-1, Cy Young, and you can get Konnor Griffin 13-1 there. Like, I think 13-1 on Griffin, NL Rookie of the Year, is way good. Love that Colby Marcio is sending me Instagram reels, even though he's in this chat. Just like an absolute buffoon. Griffin 13-1 is a really good number. I love that number. And I still think even Ohtani 11-1 is ridiculous. I mean, when he's 6-1 at other places, there's your last buy point for him. So I think those are both good. The Mets, I think we've closed the book on them. They're nothing. I don't think that they are going to be anything. I don't think that they're going to bring it back. And so I think it's the Braves and the Marlins in that division. And I'm going to continue to fade the Mets. They are an absolute pit of misery. They hate each other. Juan Soto comes back off the injured list. Like, yeah, I didn't really talk to anyone while I was on the injured list. I was just kind of doing my own thing. Okay, great. That makes everyone feel good. Very good stuff. So the Mets, continue to fade them. And that's why we're going to be there. But let's talk about the Cubs, too. 10 in a row. Credit where it's due. The Cubs started the year poorly. I was dancing on their grave. I was making fun of them because I was like, yeah, this team is exactly what we thought they'd be. Pretty sure I said that on this show specifically. Yeah, here go the Cubs, not being able to do anything. I'll give them credit. They have won 10 in a row. That's really hard to do in baseball. They've launched themselves back to the top of the NL Central. We still like the Pirates a lot. But to my guy Brian Giles' point here, I don't think the Cubs still have the pitching to maintain this. Cade Horton's not walking through that door. In fact, he's not going to be walking through the door for about a year. Justin Steele, we don't know what his return from elbow surgery is going to look like in a couple of months. He's still not going to be back till like June. So you're still hoping that Edward Cabrera keeps this up, which is fine and good. I think Edward Cabrera could keep it up. Is it going to be exactly this, where he's just dominating time and again every time out? No, probably not. But could he be a sub-3 pitcher and be a legitimate ace? Yeah, absolutely. But then it's Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, who just came off the injured list, and then it's Colin Ray and Jameson Taillon. Okay, sure. And don't get me wrong, I think the Cubs probably win tonight against Roki Sasaki. I have bets in that game. We'll talk about that game because, wow, I can't believe some of these prices in a game that Roki Sasaki is starting in the year of our Lord 2026. But we'll get into that. I think that this Cubs team is playing really good right now, but I think you're seeing the juxtaposition of what they're going to be all year. They started the year poorly. They couldn't hit. The pitching was just okay outside of Edward Cabrera, who was awesome and is awesome. And now you're seeing when they're really, really hot. When Ian Happ is swinging a hot bat. When Alex Bregman's finally coming around. When Moises Balestros is playing well. You're seeing the juxtaposition of the two different sides of the Cubs. I think is the answer somewhere probably more in the middle where they're just an aggressively mediocre team. Yeah, that's what I think this is. I think the NL Central is just going to be the Cubs, Reds, and Pirates turning over each other all year long. The Brewers are probably going to be in that mix because it's the Brewers and they always find a way and they always figure it out. But I'm not trying to go to war with the Cubs here. I think Giles makes a great point about the pitching. That was the point I was thinking about this morning when I was formulating how I wanted to talk about this team. Even if the lineup continues to be good with Horner and Bregman and Happ, and I'm sure the Cubs will look to add somebody at the deadline, but I mean, because they really can't keep running Matt Shaw and Michael Conforto out there in the outfield. They need somebody, which we'll see what happens at the trade deadline or before then. Who knows? But that was really gross. Sorry, but sinus infection day 4. Fighting for my life. So I just think that's what the Cubs are going to be all year long. I think they're just going to be an aggressively mediocre team. We've made our bed with the Pirates. We have those Pirates futures, and I'm good sitting with those. And if you want more, Konnor Griffin 13-1. NL. Why do I keep saying AL Rookie of the Year? NL Rookie of the Year. Still floating around out there. And I think that's all the future stuff that we have for the day. We'll pause on Major League Baseball, and we'll get into college baseball. I have 3 bets in college baseball. Talked about this with Crutch earlier in the week. Everybody is doing these think pieces that Texas is cooked and that Texas isn't going to win and that Texas, they're falling apart. I will say this over and over and over. I would much rather this happen now with Texas. Mind you, they won convincingly last night against Vanderbilt. They're still a top team in the nation. And yeah, have they dropped a couple Friday games here and there? Yeah, did they lose the series to Texas A&M in a heavily emotional series for Texas A&M? Yes. I'm okay with that. I'd rather this happen now than in the tournament a month and a half from now. We're 5 weeks away from the tournament. Plenty of time for Texas to get their shit together, and I think they will. I think they'll be just fine. They're massive favorites again tonight against Vandy. Once you get to the tournament and you have Rojas and you have Volantis and then you have Luke Harrison as a safety net, you're good. You're fine. I am not worried about Texas at all. And I mean, you go to the odds and the odds tell you the same thing. Is UCLA the favorite? Yes. Should they be? Yes. They've been awesome. I have no qualms with them being the top team and the favorite. But UCLA plus 550, Georgia Tech 7-1, never in life. Texas plus 850. They're your third favorite. Now, they're a co-third favorite, tied for third favorite, because Texas A&M, and I will say, oh, Reed, you touched the stove with Georgia Tech this morning? No. Touched the stove against Wake Forest with Georgia Tech. You know what? It's okay. I touched the stove with Georgia Tech yesterday because I'm an idiot. Did they win? Yeah. But they won by 1, and we laid the 1.5 because I'm an idiot, and I never stopped touching the damn stove. Anyway, Georgia Tech, 7-1 for your second favorite. I still don't think they're going to win anything. I can't believe they're the second favorite still. It blows my mind. We'll get back to Texas in a second. Brian Giles brings up a great point. Kansas to make the College World Series is the new bet that he just placed. I'm betting Kansas today. I can't believe Kansas is a dog again. 4-game win streak. They've played great baseball for the better part of, since March, since the start of March, basically. They can smell a Big 12 title, and they're dogs on the road, albeit, but to a Kansas State team that stinks. So, Kansas State, just 2 games over 500 at home. Kansas, well over 500 on the road, 4 straight wins. They're a better team. You could get them at plus 115. I like Kansas today. I love that. I love the bet on them to make the College World Series. I think that's a great look by our guy Brian Giles as well. I missed the boat on Texas A&M. They're tied with Texas in the odds at plus 850. And I was very put off by Texas A&M last year, and they started the year hurt, so I was staying away. Credit to them. They've taken the gas pedal and just went boom, straight to the floor. Texas A&M's playing really, really, really good baseball. However, is there a chance they're peaking too soon? I would never bet them at plus 850. Now, if we get to the tournament and they're hosting or they're not favored in their region for whatever reason, or even if they're a short favorite in their region, I'll love Texas A&M in that point. So I think Texas A&M, I'm not going to do anything with them. I will say North Carolina better than 10-1. I still think that's a good bet. I still think this is a really good team, even though they lost last night. I think that's fine. I really like this North Carolina team. They're tactical. They're surgical. I think they'll definitely be there. But back to the Texas of it all, I'm fine sitting with our Texas futures. I still think that this team has the juice. They have the manager. They have the stars. I think they'll be just fine. Is there a chance that UCLA just goes on and wins it all? Yeah, there's a chance that happens. But if that's the case, then you lost to the favorite. You lost to the team that was the favorite from wire to wire, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay having the runner-up, or at least the team that was in Omaha, at 20-1. And I'm okay with that. So I don't think we're hitting the panic on Texas. I still like this team a lot. I still think that they have plenty of time to figure it out. And as opposed to teams like Texas A&M, who are maybe peaking a little bit too soon right now, I think that's something to talk about. As far as the bets today, mentioned Kansas, plus 115. I think it's ridiculous that they are dogs, even though they're on the road. Kansas State, not a good team. Give me Kansas. Good old WTF, wrong team favorite. I think a couple ways for this one. Boston College lost to Notre Dame yesterday. Notre Dame's Friday night guy has been pretty good all year. Notre Dame as a whole, I'm not about. So Boston College, bird ball today, minus 145. I think that's a fine price to lay. I still really like Boston College. I still think they're going to be a fun-ass team to bet once we get to tournament time in about 5 weeks. But I think you're getting a decent price here because they lost last night to Notre Dame. Minus 145, and I think, let's see, just to make sure that didn't move too terribly much. Oh, wow, okay, never mind. If you can find a good price on Boston College, good on you. They're out to minus 166 right now, at least where I'm looking. I'm going to check the Blue Book really fast just to see if that moved as well. Probably did. They're pretty good about moving lines in conjunction with other books. Let's see. Bam, bam, bam. Really good radio happening right now. Boston College minus 154 at the Blue Book. So I bet Boston College at minus 145. I think if you want to use them as a parlay leg at minus 150, minus 160, I still think that's fine as well. If you want to pair them with your favorite MLB bet, if you want to pair them with something we're going to give out in a little bit here, good on you. I think that's a good parlay leg at the very least. But if minus 155 isn't too big of a price for you to lay, if that's the type of pool you're willing to jump in, all good. I respect that. I bet minus 145. Last college bet here that I want to talk about for today. How about Coastal Carolina? Honestly, a huge round of applause to the Chants. How they've turned this thing around. And I was really hard on them. I was really hard on Coastal Carolina to start the year. Because of the injuries, it wasn't really their fault. Their guys were just going down like flies. And now, then they started the year 6-4. We bet against them a lot to start the year. They're 23-8 since then. And they've been dominant at home. 12 games over 500 at home. And Coastal Carolina's always had a pretty strong home field advantage. But they're great. Oh, there's a minus 135 out there on Boston College. I think that's a really good price, too, if you're available, if you have the funds at where our guy Reed Phillips were at. This is why you should be watching live. Because we're bouncing stuff off. We're in the chat. We're throwing things out there. And our guys, Colby's still here, I think, but Giles, Reed, if you have bets, if you have stuff that you're betting today and you want to throw in the chat, feel free. We'll talk about it. But back to Coastal Carolina. They've really turned this thing around. I mean, they're going to make the tournament. Maybe they're going to be a threat again. I think they could be. But I like them. And this line moved to – this opened minus 2.5, minus 110. And Texas State has been taking money. I don't agree with that at all. You can get Coastal Carolina minus 2.5 at plus 105 right now. I think that's a really good price. Texas State can't play on the road. Coastal covered this number last night. I think they can cover it again. They're 17-5 at home this year. Texas State 3-10 on the road, which doesn't pretend a lot to the run line, but I like Coastal. They're playing a lot better. I think they're great. All right. Kalshi, BC at minus 122. Go for it. I think do I need to jump in to like the Kalshi and the poly market of it all? especially if they want to sponsor this show, then I'm way down. I haven't dabbled in that universe because I don't really understand it. My dumb brain doesn't really translate that well. But maybe that's something we have to think about going forward. We got somebody new in the chat here at Chicago 980. How are you liking the Cubs? Futures wise, I'm not sure. I think they're the favorite for the NL Central. They should be, but we do have bets on the Cubs tonight. So real fast, just to run through the college card really fast, then we'll get to MLB. Like Kansas today, dogs against Kansas State. I think that's wrong team favored. Boston College, if you can find a good price, there's a minus 122 floating around out there. I think that's a good price for Boston College, or if you want to use them as a parlay leg. And then I like Coastal Carolina, minus 2.5. That's gone out to plus money. I think that's ridiculous. Really like them today. To answer Chicago 980's comment today, and welcome. First-time commenter, I believe, unless I've missed it before. But either way, welcome. I cannot believe – that was really gross. Sorry. I cannot believe we are getting the Cubs today, first 5 team total over, at plus money. Has anybody watched Roki Sasaki pitch this year? He's been atrocious. He can't find the zone, and when he does, they're meatballs. His fastball has nothing, and they've thought about relegating him to the bullpen, but they're paying him all this money, so they're not going to option him in AAA. Like, I cannot believe we're getting the Cubs team total over 2.5 at plus money. I'm way over. I'm all over the Cubs team total over. First 5 is 2.5. That's plus money. Game over, fine if you want to do that as well, because the Dodgers bullpen, disgusting. So I like the Cubs first 5 over their team total. And I'll even go farther. You can get Ian Happ 5-1 to hit a home run. He's been great over the last week. 346, 469, nice, 577. He's got a couple home runs in that span. He's 2 for 4 in his career against Roki Sasaki. I really like Happ at 5-1 to hit a home run today. Placed that this morning. I think it's great. Sasaki at batters-box is the 3rd worst rated pitcher today. He's horrid. So Cubs first 5 team total over, Ian Happ to hit a home run in that one. Shout out Chicago 980, first time commenter. We appreciate you. A couple other things that I like today. I'll go to the other NL Central team. Cardinals first 5 team total under 1.5. You have to lay a bit of a price, minus 125. I think that's fine. Their offense is J.J. Weatherholt and Prey. That's what they got going. And they're going against Brian Wu, who, if you've been watching this show and you've been listening to this show, you know that this is a giant Brian Wu program. He is the 2nd best rated pitcher at batters-box today. He goes against an atrocious offense in the St. Louis Cardinals. And he's been on fire all year long. He's just pumping out 6-7 inning starts. I did 6-7 again. I'm sorry. It's the dunce hat. Admonish myself for that one. Is that even still a meme? I don't even know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I like Brian Wu a lot in the spot. I like the Cardinals first 5 team total under 1.5. If you don't want to pay the minus 125 on that, I think Wu's Ks are good. Over 5.5. Last time I checked, that was plus 113. Like I said, he's elite rated at batters-box today. He's hit that over in 7 of his last 10 elite starts. He's the 2nd best rated pitcher. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. And the Cardinals are a big, fat 0 overall. So Cardinals first 5 team total under 1.5. Brian Wu over 5.5 Ks at plus money. Oh, man, we're cooking today. We are cooking. Appreciate everybody commenting. Appreciate everybody being in the chat, throwing your bets in. If you have any other bets or anything that you're marinating on, throw it in the chat. We'll talk about it. Swallow my water wrong, like an idiot, because I'm stupid. Wow, that is really disgusting. See, this is why I appreciate Reed Phillips Rad. Is always just searching. Is always looking for best price. Cardinals team total under minus 1.5. There's a minus 105 out there. Really, really like that. If you're so that's why you should shop around. And that's a bad job by me for not shopping around the price. I was a little rushed this morning, hence with all the dog sitting and it's people drop some stuff off at the house. So I was a little rushed. Okay. And again, you know what? And I'm playing hurt. I'm playing hurt with this sinus infection. Okay. So I'm doing my best. Also, nobody else has commented on my haircut. First, Colby Marcio, now all of you guys. Trusted you people. I'm graying rapidly, by the way, so that's really fun. What else was I going to say? So, anyway. Do you stream every day? No. So okay. Yes and no. For this show, GameDay Garage, the show in the U, to answer your question, Chicago 9AL, we are here every Saturday, noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern. You can find us, GameDay Garage, on socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. That's where we stream. You can follow me at DJ Hassan on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, Hassan_Jake. I have a Substack, hassanshacks.substack.com. You can find that on my Twitter profile as well. But we're here. I'm everywhere. We're on this show on Saturdays, me and Colby Marcio at Colby on Bets. We are on a show called Off the Board on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then I'm posting on my Substack just about every other day that I'm not streaming, hassanshacks.substack.com. I'm everywhere. If anybody wants to give me a job, that would be great. I'm throwing a bunch of shit against the wall here, trying to get somebody to hire me. So if anybody knows anybody that needs an insane guy who likes baseball and likes betting and likes sports and, I'm just going to say it, generally charismatic, generally good looking, I'm available. Please. So anyway, as I was saying, one other thing that I like today, I really like the A's. I think we do have another wrong team favorite here. I have been coming into the year saying that maybe we were early, that this was a year early on the A's. And granted, we bet the A's at 35-1 to win the AL West last year. CLV to our graves. Awesome, cool, grand, wonderful. But the A's playing good baseball right now. And granted, it helps that the whole of the AL West is absolute garbage. Really helps there. The Rangers are middling so far. The Astros are nothing. The Mariners can't hit. And the Angels are the Angels. So the A's currently sitting at the top of the AL West. Good for them. Maybe they just win it. Maybe we were wrong about it being a year too soon for the A's. I still thought they were a year away coming into the year. Could have been wrong. But I like them today. They're dogs. And it's Mackenzie Gore versus Jeffrey Springs. I'm a huge Mackenzie Gore guy, but he can make mistakes. He can serve up a meatball here to Nick Kurtz, or he can serve up a meatball to Shea Langoliers. So I'll steal the bit from Baseball's Dead there, but, is what it is. But I like the A's today as dogs. I think it's a good opportunity to bet them. Jeffrey Springs, Mackenzie Gore, to me, they're basically the same guy. Springs has pitched way better this year. We know he doesn't have to pitch in Sacramento. That's helpful. The Rangers, shockingly, at home, they're the second worst offense in baseball. That's pretty shocking to me. And even if Mackenzie Gore, even if Gore and Springs kind of duel back and forth, trade zeros, I trust that A's bullpen. It's an insane thing to say. I trust that A's bullpen way more than I trust the Ranger bullpen. The Ranger bullpen's a mess. So even if it's late and it's a 1-run or 0-0 game, I think the A's will have the opportunity to come back and win the game. So I like them a lot as well. So the card, as it were today, Kansas, Boston College, Coastal Carolina -2.5. So money line on Kansas, money line on BC, and run line on Coastal Carolina. For MLB, Cardinals first 5 team total. Cardinals first 5 team total under 1.5. Brian Wu over 5.5 Ks. Cubs team total first 5 over 2.5. Ian Happ to hit a home run. And then the A's on the money line. And if you have no futures, if you have nothing in Rookie of the Year, Konnor Griffin at 13-1 out there, NL Rookie of the Year, the guy who was the favorite a month ago. 3 for 4 with a home run, maybe his breakout yesterday. Just something to consider there. And an 11-1 on Shohei Ohtani still floating around for NL Cy Young. Just something to think about. I think that's going to be it. That's all I got, unless anybody else has anything they want to jam in the chat here at the very end. I have been Jake Hassan, at the Jake Hassan on Twitter, at Hassan_Jake on Instagram, hassanshacks.substack.com on Substack. That's also linked to my Twitter profile. GameDay Garage on socials, which is where we're at every single Saturday, noon Central Time. And that's about it. Good luck, everybody. Blessings. I'm going to go run on the treadmill for a little bit. Try to burn out the last of this mucus and, keep this, stay, I've started seeing a woman recently, so I got to stay in shape. That's what the haircut was for too, kind of, even though it was a little too short. I'm not sure if she's a fan, but that's fine. All right. Bye. XOXO. Love you guys. Good luck. Be safe. And let's have a Saturday, right? Later.